the inside track on the sound of Riot Games. Please welcome Alex Rybalko, Project Stryker's lead engineer, to the stage.
Imagine a world where esports matches are always live and the competition never ends. Introducing Project Stryker.
Bad boy.
A network of 3 Riot remote broadcast centers being constructed strategically around the world. First stop, Dublin, Ireland. In less than 6 months, Riot transformed a 50,000 square foot former nightclub into a state-of-the-art remote broadcast center designed for one purpose: bringing joy to esports fans no matter where they live, how they watch, or what language they speak. Dublin is just the first step on our journey. As more Stryker facilities come online in the US and APAC, we'll create global follow the sun coverage. Riot Esports' focus has never wavered: to bring joy to billions of fans around the world.
Okay, so Riot Games officially opened the first of 3 remote broadcast centres, making up Project Stryker in summer 2022, correct?
Yes.
Yes, good. And with the Dublin RBC now serving as the central broadcasting hub for both regional and global live esports across Riot's esports titles, League of Legends Esports, VALORANT Esports, and Wild Rift Esports. So, welcome to the stage, Alex.
Thank you.
So, first of all, let's talk about Project Stryker. You know, what is it? Why did it come about? And what does it mean for Riot Games technically?
Yeah, so at Riot, we've been doing big esports productions and remote production for over a decade now, so it's nothing new. But as you mentioned, it was only with one game, League of Legends. It's been, at the forefront of esports for that entire time, but now we've gone and added 2 more games, both esports in their own right, and that scale has to come from somewhere. So we have, existing workflows. We have existing teams globally and regionally that take care of esports production now. But to kind of consolidate all that, add capacity, that's where Project Stryker comes in. So it's a follow the sun model, so strategically placed at 0, +8, and -8 UTC, so that we can do a 24/7 coverage. And the first one just came online in the summer. We've done a couple of big global shows. The Seattle facility just started construction this week, which is very exciting. And the idea is not to replace what we already do and do well, but it's to add that capacity and enable our regions. For example, in the EMEA region, we do broadcasts in up to like 17 languages. So all of these language partners, they receive a world feed, they receive the tools that they require, but oftentimes regions feel underserved because they don't have access to some of the top-of-the-line tools that some of the bigger facilities have. So by centralizing all of our technology, adding in cloud, we basically provide these tools across the board. We can raise the baseline of production to a high standard so that everyone draws from the same pool, and Riot Esports gets better across the board.
Sure, yeah. Sounds really, really good. Epic. And what will esports fans get from this increased follow-the-sun method of production?
So, like I mentioned, the regions that might not have the tools currently to produce at a standard that they would like to, they will get access to all of this technology, all of these broadcast facilities, because, in a connected world, like when we have all 3 going, people can sleep, but equipment doesn't have to sleep. So because the center is a remote broadcast center, so by definition, it's like everything that we do is remote. So all of the equipment is in a data center. It's not at the facility. So even the facility that you saw there, we're just remotely connecting. So what we will enable all of our regions, all of our global teams to do is to connect in the same fashion, to have access to all of that technology 24/7, super low latency, so they can do productions with all of the technology that's like usually reserved to only the top tier events, which results in better content for our fans, which is the number one goal.
Totally. And then what does your audio kind of workflow and system look like today? Because obviously this is going to evolve as you go move forward.
Yeah, so right now, and going forward, it's quite complex. There's, it's hard to even just take in the whole scope because we actually do everything. So including player comms, including what players hear on stage, mixing their headsets. We use all of that in live production to tell stories as well. So, we have a on-site presence at all of these events, usually a third-party partner that provides all of the equipment for signal acquisition. We're working with a minimum of about 128 audio channels that then we transport to our Stryker facilities. Everything's IP. We've got no baseband whatsoever in any of our facilities. So, once it's in the ecosystem, it can then be distributed globally. We do, all of our shows, both on-prem and in the cloud shows, for language partners and for the main feeds in-house. So then, once that's done, we basically distribute it. All of our distribution is done in the cloud, both our own private cloud and public cloud. So it's quite a bit of scale there.
Yeah, totally. And what are the daily challenges for you, working in esports audio today? And what tools do you use to overcome these in this really complex live environment that you're in?
Yeah, well, the main challenge is probably just the sheer complexity, right? Like like I said, minimum 128 channels of audio, individual audio that includes both in the venue production. So like all of that stuff is done by us too. So the stuff that viewers see at the venue, it's part of the show. We have a very complex AR workflows with LED screens and XR, stage activations. All of that is part of the one show flow. So, audio cues and things like, like delay for, to be in time with stuff that happens in real life and also stuff that happens remotely. We're looking at, individual delay for 40 to 60 channels at any one time. Obviously, wireless cameras and AR, they add a different amount of delay. Player POVs, in-game, out-of-game, all of that stuff has to be managed. It's extremely complex, and we have a range of tools that we use, top-of-the-line audio consoles and processing equipment, on-prem and in the cloud, specifically for the language feeds. We find it's a lot easier to add scale in the cloud if it's not, if it doesn't require that core complexity. We just kind of add scale there. Mm-hmm. So that's basically the gist of it, yeah.
Cool. And you have to do a lot of stuff in-house to solve issues that you come up against.
Yeah, so we take care of basically everything end to end. So the whole user experience, the viewer experience. All of these issues, we have a brilliant team that works on site and at our facilities. And we oftentimes have bespoke tools that we create or work with a variety of vendors to create, mm-hmm. and just the complexity of the workflows is very non-traditional, but that's what makes it cool.
And how is Project Stryker going to bring about kind of a new way of doing esports production, in the cloud? Because I know that, a lot of what you do is already in the cloud, but that is the goal, isn't it, to kind of go as airy as possible? Yeah,
so for us, the number one goal is always just adding value to our viewers, our players, right? Mm-hmm. So however we achieve that, it can be cloud, it can be a hybrid solution, or it can be fully on-prem. To us, it's the end result that really matters. So right now we're in a bit of a transition period from our traditional kind of remote broadcast on the road to a centralized model with Stryker, as well as we're kind of adding a lot of cloud components. So, for example, all of our distribution to CDNs and our language partners, it's all done in the cloud. But just doing stuff in the cloud for the cloud's sake, it's not really productive all the time. Mm-hmm. It's where it makes sense. So adding scale for doing 17 language feeds, it's very easy to do on demand. You just spin something up in AWS and you've got your workflows. But FPGA hardware is not going away anytime soon, and that is required in a lot of ways, and is something that is not always possible in the cloud at the same scale that we do things.
Okay, cool. And then, finally, where do you see cloud and esports audio going in the future? Using your crystal ball, what will that future look like? And how will your job in esports change? Will it get more complex or simpler?
Yeah, well, I think it'll never get simpler, mainly for the fact because we always try to push the envelope. We're always, every show that we do, we try to, have a component of R&D or something new, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so always, pushing the limits. But that's a really good thing because we're also coming up with innovative ways of doing production and just looking at production in a different way. So if I were to say where it's going to go, on-demand production and really highly scalable production, especially when it comes as an additive component to a core, very complex kind of like huge show, then let's say right now if we wanted to spin up additional regional feeds or provide tools for our regions, the easiest way to scale is in the cloud. So I would see that kind of continuing to grow.
And I said finally, but I lied. You've got a lot of manufacturers in the room. If you could get someone to make something that would make your life easier, what would that thing be? As lead audio engineer, what would you want that you could just pick up and plug in?
Probably like a fully layer 3 distributed audio console, something that can be. And a lot of that stuff already exists. I think just working on standards is very important. As we are a fully IP facility, we're finding out the joys of interoperability and NMOS and IP and all those things. So, just having those standards and having vendors work together to kind of achieve the end result, that's, in my opinion, the most important thing.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you very much,
Thanks.
Alex. Thank you. Does anyone have a question? Pete does. Hang on. I'll do the running.
Thank you. I work for Warner Brothers Discovery. We've got a very similar system by the sound of what you've got there. I mean, we've had our own challenges, but I'm just. What were your choices for because you haven't gone into deep detail. I'm not sure if you're allowed to, but in terms of transport method from all those venues, did you? So obviously you talk about layer 3 networking. Have you gone 2110-7, or are you using alternative? And then internally, how are you managing to distribute your audio and in what format? If you don't mind.
Yeah, for sure. So all of our transport, first of all, I don't think I mentioned, all of our transport is over Riot Direct. So that is kind of our own global ISP that was created to improve the player experience so we don't have to rely on third-party ISP routing. But the capacity was there so that when Project Stryker came along, it was a natural kind of fit. Because everything's at least 10 gigs globally. It's a global network. So, Stryker and the remote production that we do is powered by that network. It's all the audio is uncompressed 2110-30, and we use Nevian for our main transport solution. For ease of use, we usually take in 2 to 4 streams of MADI. Everything's done on FEC. It's unicast over the WAN, and then just in our facilities, it's native 2110-30.
Sounds good.
Any other questions? Oh, go on.
I'm also intrigued. I'm just because I'm fascinated because our projects are very similar. how you interface with the cloud as well, and on your own data center. I mean, I guess like most people, you probably use AWS of sorts, but how those highways or gateways in and out. Obviously, you just have the planning involved on something like this is massive. But I guess you just have to be prepared, right? And you have lots of highways and gateways into those resources, and I guess that's how you use it.
Yeah, well, there's a benefit of being one of AWS's largest customers, that a lot of that stuff already exists by default. So again, like the broadcast side of things, it comes in as a natural fit on top of the systems that we already have, like with Riot Direct, with direct connects into AWS. A lot of the stuff that we do is, pretty much everything is Twitch, YouTube, those kinds of streaming platforms. So all of that stuff, we do contribution into our own private cloud. We have Nimble servers for distribution to regional partners, as well as AWS Media Connect, Media Live. We do JPEG access straight to that in -7, and then same for audio, and then we do the encode distribution all from there.
Pete. Great. Okay. Thank you very much,
Awesome.
Alex. That was fantastic. You can leave it on. It's fair. Big round of applause for Alex, please.